Yeah. Hello? You have a question?
How do you maintain a taste? You're getting a taste? Is that an indication? If you don't get a taste, then something's wrong. You chant Hare Krishna and you're not getting a taste, then it's something you've done throughout the day that you've done, or the previous day. You're not doing it right. You're not getting a taste of chanting Hare Krishna.
Some aparad, some offense, mentally or otherwise, some different attitude, you know. Because until we're free from the anarthas, still pride, no tolerance, you know, looking for name and fame, demanding respectability, those things are still there. So you cannot properly chant as long as that pride and arrogance and lack of humility and tolerance and giving respects to others is there. So that's also the root of the problem, is we have these demoniac qualities that are still festering there within our heart and consciousness. Could be like that we're getting a little full of ourselves, a little puffed up, you know, demanding respect, not being, you know, thinking you're better than other people, not tolerating the purification process, or tolerating when Krishna uses somebody to not give us the respect that we're demanding, then we get upset with them, we find fault with them, like that. Or we made some aparad, mental aparad, also finding fault with devotees, not seeing your own fault. Seva aparad, guru aparad, nam aparad, so many different aparads are there. Asat sangha. Guru Krishna said, give up asat sangha. So still doing asat sangha, still speaking krishna-katha, still speaking village talks related to politics and sense gratification. That's asat sangha. So we're disregarding the instruction of Guru and Krishna. So we're pouring water on the grass at the same time we're trying to light it, doing asat sangha in the mind, instead of hearing nicely the holy name, listening to the stupid mind, contemplating, thinking, listening, plan making, very seriously listening to it, taking it as absolute, being persuaded by it, asat sangha. So material association, material consciousness, we cannot chant properly. Mind will be disturbed, mind will be contaminated, mind will be filled with so many other thoughts. And therefore there's no taste. Because we're not really surrendering to the process that allows us to chant properly. Which means we're not really surrendering to the holy name. And without genuine surrender to the holy name, there's no question of getting spiritual taste. Just alphabets coming out. Right? And the mind is thinking about God knows what. And He does know. And Krishna does know. So we don't receive mercy of the holy name. Because we're not surrendering to the holy name. We're listening to our stupid minds, doing asat sangha. Material plan making, material worrying, projecting into the future, disregarding instructions of Guru and Krishna, nam aparad and guru aparad. So if you're committing nam aparad, guru aparad, disregarding the instructions of the spiritual master, finding fault with the spiritual master, that's a guru aparad. That means nam aparad. So how can you chant? Huh? You're chanting nice? And then now the chanting is not nice, you cannot take shelter in the chanting. Then there's no taste, there's no reciprocation, because the holy name is not there. It does not manifest. Now there's no shelter. Now there's no protection. Now your mind has become like a monster, has become like an animal, ready to devour you, ready to steal away everything. from you because of that. So of course there's no taste. There can be no taste. So when there's no taste, no appreciation, there's jaundice condition. Material consciousness, jaundice condition, disease condition, heavy medicine required, heavy dosage required. Constantly chanting, constantly crying, constantly hearing, petitioning the Lord, petitioning the holy name, petitioning the Vaishnavas, the Guru. Internally. It's not that you don't do anything and then you say, oh Gurudev, I have all these problems, solve it for me. Every day the Guru is giving what is the process and he's teaching practically how to apply it. So not hearing, not learning how to apply it, and only at the end when you're in complete huge trouble, then you're saying, Gurudev, solve it for me. Now you solve it for me. The Guru is telling you what is the instructions every single day. How to deal with lust, how to deal with the mind, how to chant properly, how to hear properly. Whatever the solution is, the Guru is teaching, speaking on that. According to Guru Sarva Shastra, giving the solution daily, constantly. But we're not hearing it, we're not understanding it, we're not applying it. And we find ourselves in a mess, in a big trouble situation. And then saying, okay Gurudev, you solve it. You solve it for me. So you're not listening, you're disregarding the instructions, you're acting whimsically, you're doing whatever you want, you get yourself in huge trouble, big trouble, struggling trouble, and then you say, Gurudev, I don't know what happened. I don't know how I got into this situation. And then our stupid mind starts saying, maybe it's the Guru's fault. Because God knows I'm doing everything perfectly. So maybe there's a problem with the Guru, maybe there's a problem with the process, maybe there's a problem with Krishna. You start doubting everything. No, maybe there's a problem with you. Maybe there's a problem with being able to hear the instructions rather than hear your stupid minds and all that it's projecting, all of its mental concoction, mental speculation. Maybe that's your problem. Maybe you're putting too much faith and trust in your own materialistic mind rather than the instructions of Guru Sarva and Shastra. That's why we're in trouble. So you come to the Guru and say, I'm in trouble, he's just going to say, well, this is the same instructions I'm giving every day. Just do it, apply it. Begin to listen, understand it, and apply it. Then you'll see the solution. Then you'll understand the solution. Then you'll get faith, because you'll see how it works. It's very simple, actually. But we're complicated. Our minds are complicated. We're not simple like child. We're thinking ourselves so smart, so intelligent, so sophisticated, so, worldly, puffed up, arrogant, proud of our intelligence, mind and senses and bodies. And listening to that, instead of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, then we find ourselves in trouble. So we have to analyze. Prabhupada said, judge by the result. Are you getting nice result? Your consciousness nice? Free from anxiety? Free from fear? Free from material desires? Nice taste in your chanting? Relishing Srimad Bhagavatam, Harikatha, Krishna-katha? Ask ourselves, ask yourself. And problem is asatsanga. This is the root of the problem. Materialistic association. listening to their own materialistic mind, or listening to others' materialistic mind. This asat, sangha, is the root of the problem. And when we do asat sangha, you cannot hear Harikatha, you cannot hear Harinam, Krishna Nam. You cannot hear anything but the mind and body. Senses demanding, mind demanding. That's all we can hear. And that's actually animal consciousness. Because animals, they hear their mind and their senses. Right? Material consciousness means mind and senses. And Prabhupada said almost everybody here in the material world, the material consciousness is thinking like that. All they know is my mind and my body, my senses. They don't know anything else, they cannot hear anything else. That's asat sangha. Asat sangha. This is the problem. So we have to hear something else. We have to hear satsanga, sadhu sangha, harikatha, krishna-katha. We must suspend this vicious habit and addiction to listening to our stupid, foolish, rascal minds. And we must surrender to hearing harikatha, krishna-katha, harinam. Then we have chance. Then we have chance to get out. But if we're not intense in taking shelter of the holy name, intense in taking shelter of harikatha, sadhu sangha, satsanga, that is the solution. Our intensity is not there because such strong addiction, attachment to the mind and the body and the material desires generated from the mind and body. This is problem. And Krishna says if you're too addicted, too attached, then your resolute determination to chant the holy name, to practice Krishna consciousness will not manifest within you. So we have an asat sangha problem. And asat sangha association means to hear. We're hearing in the wrong way from the wrong persons. Or we're hearing from our own materialistic minds and what it's projecting. And accepting that as absolute truth. This is a problem. So what to do? All we can do is chant, speak Harikatha, Krishna-katha, chant Harinam, Krishna Nam, pray, teach everyone to realize what you're doing, how you're not hearing, how you're listening to your mind, you're depending on your mind, how to pray to Gauranitai, to not to do that, to not to listen to it, not to depend upon it, but to try to surrender to the hearing process. And hearing the holy name, hearing Bhagavad Gita. This is the process. This is the solution. So how well are we understanding that? How well are we praying for the ability, the mercy, to be able to suspend this addiction and attachment to our minds and our bodies? To detach ourselves enough to realize how the soul needs to hear and receive the spiritual food for the soul. This is food for the soul. Our problem is we're not eating enough on the platform of the soul. Our souls are not satisfied. Our minds and doubts and addictions, attachment to asat sangha or material desires is cheating us out of that food for the soul. We're being cheated. We're cheating ourselves by our own minds and listening to our own minds and own material desires. And then we're saying, Instead of realizing that's the problem, then we say, no, he's my problem, or she's my problem. That's why I'm not happy. We're blaming on everybody else. But really, the problem is within ourselves. Because if we are Krishna conscious, it doesn't matter what's going on outside. It doesn't matter what people are doing or not doing. There'll still be shelter and peace and protection and sanity and satisfaction internally. So we have an internal problem, not an external problem. We think we have an external problem. It's my family, it's my sister, it's my mother, it's my daughter, it's my son, right? No, it's my wife, it's my husband. No, it's all external. We have an internal problem. And nothing material can stop us when we are determined to solve our internal problem. Nothing material can stop spiritual. Spiritual endeavor is more powerful than material impediment or material obstacles. When those obstacles, impediments become very strong, we focus externally to try to adjust those problems. But really, and we're addicted, we're attached to that process. But actually, when that happens, we should become more internal. We should rectify ourselves internally. Then automatically the external situation is adjusted. We do opposite. In material life, we try to adjust the material conditions around us, not realizing that Krishna is doing that. And we're making material, we're conceiving it materially, then we're trying to make material adjustments to solve it. And the material adjustments are complicating it. You see, one friend of mine, he said, you see, if you have an ass or a gadha, right? And then you just box him up, wrap him up in a box with rope, and then you ship him all the way to the west coast. When you open up the box, you're still left with an ass. You see? So making a locational adjustment is not going to solve it. You're still going to wake up being an ass. Right? Whether you're here, or whether you're at the guest house, or whether you're in your country, wherever your mind thinks that you can go, that where you're going to go, short of surrendering to Guru and Krishna, as soon as you open up your box, your bags, then you realize I'm still myself. The ass is still here. Just in a different location, with more problems now. So making these material mental adjustments will not solve it, it will increase it. When the problems, the difficulties, impediments, obstacles come at us, we should realize this is Krishna testing me. This Krishna's doing it. She's not doing it, my mother's not doing it, my daughter's not doing it, my brother's not doing it, my son's not doing it, my wife's not doing it, Krishna's doing it to me. He's just using this person as an instrument to test me, to force me to realize what is my fault, what is my anarthas, right? Where is my shortcoming? A devotee is introspective. Means he looks within himself for the fault. But we don't do that, right? We're what is it? Extroverted. Extroverted. extrospective, looking outside of ourselves. We have an internal disease. Krishna says all the living entities, all the conditioned souls here, they're mine. And they're all struggling with their mind and their senses. Everyone here. No one should feel like, oh, can you believe it? This is happening to me? No, it's happening to everybody. From Lord Brahma down, everyone's got the same problem. Mind and senses, uncontrolled mind and senses. Everyone's got the same problem in this world. Just what is the solution? And all these different self-help books, all these different yoga systems, all of these other psychiatrists, psychologists, pills, this, that, so many things. What are they trying to do, ultimately? How to deal with this mind and these senses. How to purify them and control them and rectify the faulty nature of the mind and mental speculation and sinful desire. That's all that's going on. So Krishna says, surrender to me, I'll solve it. It's my Maya. You're trying to overcome my Maya by mental, material, remedial measures. Trying to adjust externally. Living location, who you're living with, this, that. Where you're going to find a perfect situation in this world. Even you think you find a perfect situation, then there's one very interesting commercial I remember when I was growing up. I saw this commercial. One man working like an ass. He's struggling his whole life. So finally he gets a vacation and he goes to a desolate beach. Nobody's there. And he just puts out his lounge chair, he puts on his oil, right? Nice oil, so he can bake in the sun, right? And then he's finally lays back and he's like, finally, you know? And all of a sudden, like this other man comes walking by, this little fat man, he has all this stuff, and he just sets up his chair right next to that man, turns on his stereo, right? There's an unlimited beach, and this man can only go and sit, 10, 20 feet away from the man on the beach, So there is no place in this material world. You can find no place here. If you do, it's very, very temporary. Some little relief, but very temporary. Right? Or you find the perfect spot, right? Eager? We're going to watch the sunset. Beautiful beach. Nice. Now sunset coming. Then what happened? All the bugs came and start eating you, chomping on you. So your eyes are trying to enjoy the sunset, and your skin is getting eaten by bugs. Right? So how much can we enjoy here? So we're looking for the perfect situation. It does not exist. This world is meant for tapodivyam. It's meant for divine austerities. And our minds and our bodies are trying to very seriously avoid tapodivyam, divine austerities. But we cannot get Krishna. We cannot purify our existence or get Krishna unless we go through that process of divine austerities, tapodivyam. So we cannot get Krishna. We cannot even get out of Maya without tapodivyam. And that divine austerity is the last thing our minds want. You see? So Guru Krishna put us into a fire. And that fire is meant to cook away all of this crud, all of this contamination. And it's heavy, it's thick layers. Not just putting on warm or simmer. It requires heavy torch. Sometimes you see like when something's, rusted, you cannot move it, you cannot unloosen it, nothing. It's so rusted together. Nothing can work. What do? They get heavy torch. This, what do they call it? This ironwork uses, what is it?
Blowtorch. Blowtorch. A blowtorch.
Yeah, like a blowtorch. Like high heat. And then they just burn it, And then finally it's, you're able to we're so stuck. We're so rusted. And so much change is needed, is required, and we're so stubborn. We're not cooperating. We're rebelling. So high torch is required. And that's the last thing the mind and the body, the senses want. It's the last thing. So Guru and Krishna put us in the fire. And living with devotees in close proximity, that's a serious fire, isn't it? If you're living by yourself, you don't have to deal with anything. Really. But then when you're living with devotees, they come out of nowhere. Right? They just come out of nowhere. You're just minding your business. You're trying to do your little act of seva. Right? And then somebody comes and says, "Oh, Prabhu, excuse me, you're not really doing that properly." Who's doing that to us? Who's actually doing that to us? That's Krishna. That person can't even think to go do that unless Krishna makes them go do that. So Krishna gives them the intelligence, gives them the impetus, and creates an opportunity to participate in this lila with us. So it's not this person, that person, this person, that person. It's Krishna. And Krishna knows what our false ego cannot really handle. Right? And then Krishna keeps making that person that we have to deal with. Right? If somebody really likes you, and you like them, and somehow you can flatter them, they can flatter you, they're serving you, you're serving them. It's a nice congenial relationship, isn't it? That's easy. But Krishna, he has such a sense of humor. He really does. He puts like the last person on the planet that you can possibly deal with. Right? And then Guru and Krishna say, "Okay, you guys work together." Ready to die, ready to crack. Right? Then how do you get through that? How do you get through it? Then we have to start saying, right? What is our fault? Because then you have to start saying, okay, how am I going to tolerate this? Then we have to start thinking, how do I make adjustments within myself? What is my fault? Usually, what is it said that when you really have a problem with somebody, chances are that how they're acting and what you cannot stand in them is one of your biggest faults yourself. Did you ever hear that saying like that? Right? What you really can't stand in somebody else, usually it means that we have that fault really in a big way. In a big way. But we can see it in the other person, but we can't see it in ourselves. We're blind to our own faults and expert at everybody else's faults. Expert. We're spending so much time looking at everyone else and everyone else's faults. We have no time to work on ourselves. It's a convenient way, it's a convenient excuse not to really have to deal with yourself. Right? This world is a world of faults. Everything about it is a fault. The whole thing is imperfect. It's not the spiritual world. You can spend your whole day looking at every single fault. Everything's a fault. Nothing is right here. So we could just spend every waking hour just going through the day looking at every single fault. And every fault within everybody that we meet. But devotee doesn't allow themselves to do that. Devotee says, no, what is my fault? Work on yourself. Find the fault within yourself. Rectify yourself. Then it will create some goodwill externally towards other people. We have an internal problem. We do not have an external problem. Those who have fixed the internal problem do not have an external problem. We have a personal internal problem. We have a lack of Krishna consciousness. That is our problem. And Krishna is making all of these different arrangements just to show us that. Just to teach us that lesson. Okay? Find fault in yourself, see the good in other people. Everybody has some good in them. Encourage the good. Don't look for the fault. If you're dealing with somebody and they know all you're doing is criticizing them and finding fault with them and looking for the negatives, right? Then what kind of reciprocation you'll get from that person? And if you go and all you're doing is trying to see everything good about that person and encouraging what is positive about that person, don't you think you'll get a different response from that person? Isn't it true for us? Isn't it true for us when someone comes and they're encouraging and they like us and they're inspiring us to do better and to be better and seeing the good quality? Don't we respond better to that? Naturally? And somebody comes and you can see they cannot stand us, they have no patience for us, no, they don't like us, they're just looking at our faults, making up faults. You know, you get 100 faults and they're seeing 200 faults, right? Are you inspired to deal with that person? Will you be inspired? Will you want to reciprocate? And then they're not giving any reciprocation and we're saying, what is their problem? That ringtone from day one, to me it just sounds like, you know, like an emergency, like danger, like, you know, it's not like a, you know, it's not like a peaceful, it's like, you know, it's like I never told you that, did I? Did I? I think I did tell you that. That's what it is. That's our life is like danger. You know, like some other dangers coming at us, some other problem, some other, you know, complete anxiety. I remember being like that when I was doing business, you know, and I was in security field, so it was always some problem going off, you know. So I got to the point when my phone rang, I'd be like jumping, you know. You'd be like half asleep, you know, because it was always on, 24 hours a day. And it was so bad actually that actually when I left, when I retired from family life, and I was just preaching. I remember I was somewhere, maybe I was in the airport or something, and somebody's phone went off, and it had the same exact ring as my emergency phone, you know? And I went like this, you know? And I was amazed, because it programs you, it conditions you to think and to act that as soon as it goes off, problem. As soon as it goes off, scandal, you know, emergency. So we're just living like this, you know, on the edge. It took me a while to just, you know, realize, okay, that's someone else's phone. I don't get to deal with that anymore. Right? Now it's the email. Right? I'm like this, you know, when I go to click my message, I'm like just waiting what's gonna hit me, like a hand comes out of the computer and just like cracks me across the face, you know. I'm like this, you know. What's coming at me now? What crisis? What scandal? What problem? Right? So if we have Krishna consciousness, we don't have a problem. So be Krishna conscious. You know, be internal. Look at your own fault. Be humble. Be tolerant. Be respectful to other people. Realize whatever's happening is Krishna doing. He's just testing us. He's forcing us to apply the process. Now you're hearing every day, you're hearing what is the solution. Every day you're hearing, right? And all we're talking about is hearing. But then, at the end, then everyone's like, you know, I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know what is the solution, right? Apply what you're hearing. Apply it. Apply it. Practice it. Then you'll see how it works. Then you'll get faith in the process. Does that make sense? Eager? We have to apply it. Right? We have to be able to use it as a tool, as a weapon. Apply the process. What is the process of dealing with lust? What is it?
Responsible service.
Huh?
Responsible service.
Responsible service? If you're obsessed with lust, can you do responsible service? Huh? When you're overwhelmed with lusty desires, can you be responsible in your service? Huh, Narayana? You gotta hear Hari-katha, Krishna-katha, constantly. Then the mind is purified. Then once the mind is purified, then we occupy it in responsible service. Otherwise, the idle mind is the devil's workshop. There's one saying like that, right? Grandma used to say it like that, right? Is there a slant on that? An Irish slant? Is that about right?
That's right.
Right? You let your mind sit idly, oh boy. Huh? Barry, if you weren't busy? Wow. It's like this, but with you trying to be busy, right? Imagine just sitting there, day after day after day. My God. Right? So that's the solution. That's the solution. Alright? That's the answer to your question. And it's everyone's question. Everyone in this room. All are affected by it. If we don't have that lust problem, you don't have a problem. Isn't it? That's the problem. That's the biggest problem in this world. That's why we're here in this world. And Gurudev said, you're all affected by it. From Lord Brahma all the way down. Everybody. Nobody's immune from that attraction. This is the battle. And that's the hardest fight. Prabhupada says, the fact that you're disturbed by, women and money, or men and money, what is so shocking about that? For so many lifetimes, you've been involved in these activities and contemplating and engaging in all of these activities. What is the big, shock that, oh my God, I have lust. Can you believe it? I'm just amazed. Why are you amazed? This is why we're here. Now the question is how do you get out of it? How do we purify it? How do we avoid it? Right? Shunvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanam. Constantly hear and chant in right association and allow Krishna in the heart to purify the heart. Right, Chitta? Right? He's asking me a question, I'm giving him the answer, and he's looking over there, looking there, spacing out. Right? Not listening. So big problem, big answer, and not listening. Not taking it serious. So how are you going to solve the problem? You don't want to solve the problem. You want to enjoy. Plan making for enjoyment. I tell Vipin this all the time. Right, Vipin? Plan making how to enjoy. Not plan making how to get purified of it. I'm sorry, maybe if you wanted to hear some leelas tonight, I'm sorry I didn't speak some leelas for you. Right? We get a lust problem, right, Narayana? If you don't have a lust problem, you don't have a problem. Right, Devaki? Everyone's the same. Sasha, Barry, Egan, Sanat, Jai Gopal. Wow. He's wearing saffron. Everyone's affected by it. That's why the only solution, the only shelter, the only protection is to do sadhu sangha and hear Hari Katha, Krishna Katha, and beg, pray to be able to let that Katha enter in to purify us. That's the only solution, it's the only hope we have. if we seriously want to overcome it. If you don't want to overcome it, then none of this means anything. Then you just listen to your stupid mind and your senses, see where it brings you. And then let the heavy lashes be the judge, be the teacher. So we can either learn by hearing, or we have to learn by stick. Right? What do you want? Huh? You want stick? No? All right. Okay, anyone else tonight?
So pure devotee completely free from lust. Pure devotee completely free from lust.
Pure devotee is completely free from lust.
Why do you say pure devotee? Unless he's not desiring it. Nadanam, najanam, nasundaram. Don't want money, don't want women, don't want what? Materialistic followers, or name and fame. Not interested in it. That's pure devotee. Are you pure devotee? No? Yeah.
Srila Gurudev, then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, then you should not even watch this, what is it?
Wooden statue of woman, right?
Yeah.
Like that.
It's even for pure devotee, or pure devotee not affected by this.
You're not interested. Mind may go there, but not interested. That's not what they want. And in pure consciousness, you know, this is not what I want. Maya's all the time is coming in different ways, different forms, different subtle attacks. But if you're serious and determined, then you'll say, I don't want that. I'm not interested in that.
It's definition of devotee.
Huh?
Devotee is definition of real devotee.
Gurudev explained that he's not interested in connect, comedy or pratishta. Not interested in money, not interested in women, and not interested in name and fame. Like stool. Not interested in it. That's pure devotee. It's offered, Maya's offering, all the time. But when offered, they're not interested. Maya's over. Haridas Thakur. He's just minding his business, just chanting Hare Krishna. Right? And yet, prostitute comes out to him. And starts doing all poses, many things, right? Right in front of him. Can you withstand it? That's why we're hiding in that little room, right? Just hoping that nobody comes in and does any poses in there, you know what I mean? Right? He has no fault. But still, Maya herself is coming and trying to play, attract him. But he's not attracted. He knows what's happening. He's not blind, he's not stupid, not foolish. He knows this is Maya. But he's not interested. He doesn't even subtly want to participate in that enjoyment. Because externally you can say, you know, spitting at the thought, and then inside just like playing game. Subtly. But pure devotee means you're not playing any game. not interested. So inside and outside, both required. That's beautiful. Not even enjoying in the mind. You can say, well, I'm totally detached, right? And then in the mind is. So when that's happening, Maya is attacking, then devotee who's not interested, he has to take shelter. He has to realize, oh, Maya is really going after me, really testing me. So I have to take shelter, a holy name. I have to take shelter in my seva. So the fact that it's happening, that the attraction is there, or that Maya is attacking, that is not so surprising. It's Krishna wants to see, okay, what does he do with that? The fact that Maya is acting and attracting and enchanting and subtly, grossly playing, that's what she's supposed to do. What Krishna is watching is what is our reaction to it. Are we contemplating it? Are we really wanting it? Are we plan making for it? Are we trying to enjoy it? Or are we saying, no, I'm not interested? In a real way. That's the test. That is the test. And that's the test whether you're in Grihastha ashram or not in Grihastha ashram. You think, okay, just because now you're in Grihastha ashram, then it's solved? Then you don't have to deal with that issue? No, you still have to deal with that issue. That's why Prabhupada said real sannyas means that you can lie next to a woman or man and not be agitated and not be disturbed, and not because you're so internally absorbed in service to Guru and Krishna that you're not willing to sacrifice that. That's real sannyas. Just avoiding grossly and then subtly enjoying, that is not brahmachari, that is not sannyas. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So no matter what ashram we're in, we're supposed to be Krishna conscious. We're supposed to be doing chanting and service to Guru and Krishna. That means you have to control your mind and your senses. Regulate your mind and your senses. How old are you now?
35.
35. And you have 2 boys, right? That's enough. Right? So be satisfied. Alright? That's it. Now you're 35, 2 boys you already have. Right? That's good. Oh, if we just had a baby girl. Right? We know some devotees, they had, a couple girls. What was that one devotee in south of Russia? Mosquito chewing on your face. Yeah. So then I think he had 3 girls with one wife. And then he realized, oh boy, I want to have a son. So he went and got another wife, right? And then he had another girl. And then he said, okay, I'm going to try just one more time, And then he tried again, had another girl. Right? So now he's got 2 wives and 5 girls. Right? And he said, just one more time. Maybe I can have a boy, And then he had another girl. right? And then it turned out he's the problem. No matter how many wives he'd go with, it'd still be the same, right? He's saying, oh, my wife couldn't give me a son. No, you couldn't make a son. Right? So, enough is enough, you know what I mean? I always get 2 wives and 6 girls. Right? And then I knew another devotee, he had like 9 children or something, right? And then he was old, like in his 50s, 55, 60, you know, not used to nothing. Right? And then he had another child. And that child was like retarded. Right, so the last child, you had already had so many children, and the last child, you couldn't control your mind and senses, then you have another child and then a retarded child. And then when I was saying, oh, you know, like, oof, you know, he said, no problem. My astrologer said I'll live till I'm 100. So even if I'm 60, I still get 40 more years. You know, so enough is enough. So now you become pure devotee. Alright? No more enjoying, grossly or subtly. Alright? Then you become really sannyas. Alright? Only service to Guru and Krishna. Not for own enjoyment. Not easy, huh? Not easy. That's real sannyas. That's why Gurudev says, be like Raghunath Das Goswami, practice your renunciation internally, not externally, internally. And then when it's mature, then Krishna will get you out. Guru and Krishna will get you out. Make it mature. Are you ready to get out, Barry? Oh, you're not in yet. Oh. Any other questions tonight? Is it heavy, what I'm saying? Should I go first? Huh? Mataji?
I just came from a job interview, sorry.
Huh?
I just came from a job interview, sorry.
How did it go?
Yeah, I got the job.
Huh?
Yeah, they put me as head of languages.
In that school?
Yeah, I got you.
Go look, what did I tell you?
You can predict the future.
Don't be a fanatic. It was too good to be true. You know what I mean? It was just because you're trying to surrender, because you've committed yourself, you shut off this mind's thinking that there's another option, right? You surrendered the following Gurudev's instruction. So Guru and Krishna made all arrangements for you. I mean, this perfect example. Once you just surrender and accept Gurudev's arrangement, then Gurudev says, I'll take care of you. I'll maintain you. I'll make all arrangements for you. But it requires that we really sincerely let go and trust Guru and Krishna. We're not trusting. Still doubting. Still skeptical. Still cynical. So, how you be protected? Very good. That's great news. All right, what else? Anyone have a burning question? They cannot go through the night without asking that question? Or is everything solved? Did we solve everything? Vipin, you have a question? Your hand is up? Huh? Question? Okay. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gaur Govinda Swami Srila Gurudeva ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki, Premanande.